as we now draw to the close of the year, it's time to be making assessment, because 2021, as we can see, is also going to be a year of turbulence. And having that relationship with your higher self really just keeps you in tune, and it keeps you plugged in. And one of the things I was going to mention today is that not only is it important to tune in to your higher self to help you gain clarity for your life, but it also, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that impacts all of the other areas of your life, including wealth and abundance. And so people say to me, well, how does your higher self, how does having an understanding or tuning into your higher self, how does that have an impact, or how does it affect all of the other areas of your life? Well, I truly believe that when you found your purpose and you're living your purpose, you actually tune in to the vibrational frequency of all of life. You're very clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it. There is intention behind your activities. And it's almost as if you step into another dimension in terms of working in partnership, in collaboration with life itself, so that as you're taking your steps forward and moving towards and fulfilling your purpose, it's as if the law of attraction comes into play, and the things and the resources that you need seem to just come around. I know it might sound crazy, and that sounds like a song title, but it's the truth. And so, hence the reason why I say it's for those of you who are seeking to find your higher purpose. It is so important. For me, as you know, losing everything, but as a result of losing everything, that waking me up to my higher purpose enabled me to take a completely different path, one that was about investing and supporting others, and just to put it into perspective, I set the intention at the beginning of this year, and one of the things I wanted to do was not just running a business. I wanted to have a business that had a higher purpose to it. And you may have heard me talk about the interview that I did with Michael Beckwith back in 2016, where he talked about business in the new world would require not just to be thinking about your profit, your bottom line, but you had to think about people, you have to think about the planet, and you have to think about purpose. And I just loved that interview. And if you haven't watched it, you really should. And I use it in our approach and what we do. And so at the beginning of the year, I set the intention that I wanted to invest, and I set a target of £50,000 into people, because I speak it that I'm an investor in people, and I believe that that's my purpose, and that's what I'm gifted to do. So I want to set a high standard for myself. And so I set the target at £50,000. And then this week I asked my assistant Natty to just put together a list of all of the people that I've been blessed to be able to work and support and invest in, and let me know what the numbers were. And I was really quite pleased when he told me earlier on this evening he's done the totals, and it was in excess of £50,000. In fact, it was in excess of £60,000. And so I'm like, yes, I've achieved one of my targets. Now I'm using that as an example because we were all surprised when he did the tally, because my focus this year has been on being and expressing my higher purpose. And so I'm using it as an example just to say, for those of you who are calling yourself to account, who are calling yourself to that higher standard, this is the way it benefits you. When you are being of service, because that's what the higher self is about, expressing who you are, what you're here to do. And it helps you to prove to yourself that, yes, this is what I'm here to do. So I want to take a couple of comments. Who have we got here? Great uprising family from, that's Kalila. June says, my purpose is to be a light for myself and others by shining as bright as I can. This unique light is personal to me and it has its own frequency. This frequency changes as I raise my level of understanding, trusting, and consciousness. Wow, that sounds like someone who's really clear about their purpose. So my question, as I say to you, is, are you clear about your purpose? And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is so important moving forward post 2020 is I truly believe that the people who have identified their purpose, and that purpose is how to be of service to others. See, that's the key. That's the golden ticket in this new season that people haven't yet quite got their head around. You see, abundance is everywhere. We're moving into this space of abundance. And you've often heard me say that money is everywhere. And people think, oh, yeah, it's easy for you to say, Tony. But it truly is. Even when I didn't have the money in my pocket, it was my belief. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I know that in this new paradigm shift that's taken place, this is the season of abundance. And if you are not walking in your purpose, you kind of shortchange yourself. You don't get to experience all of the abundance that there is. So you might say, well, Tony, this sounds a little bit not so sure about that. But let me give you an example. So many of you have heard about Bitcoin, and many of you have heard about, how there is unemployment and, we're going into debt. Yet some people who are in that Bitcoin space are having an amazing time. I mean, financially, if you had invested in Bitcoin at the beginning of September, believe it or not, your money would have doubled by today. So I'm using that as an example just to illustrate that abundance is everywhere. Abundance truly is everywhere. But you get to see the abundance, you get to experience the abundance if you're living from that authentic place where you are on purpose. And as I mentioned to you, the world's changed, that it's no longer about me, myself, and I, but it's about what value are you bringing. If you're not bringing value, then you're going to struggle. If you are bringing value and being of service, then you get to prove to yourself that your life has purpose and meaning. Why? Because you are able to see the benefits.